And welcome to Overtime, brought to you by KingsCast at www.kingscast.net. I'm Keith Korneluk.
And I'm Chris Kalazewski.
Round one, game one of the playoffs against the St. Louis Blues have started. And Chris, if there was a reason to start drinking, this game, my friend, would be it.
That's right, Kings fans. We're back with another episode. The playoffs have begun. The title defense has become. Very big game tonight in St. Louis. Kings Blues, game one. All right, Kings fans. So last year, obviously, we swept the St. Louis Blues. It was a fantastic series. We absolutely owned them. Also, during this regular season, it was just a pure domination by the Kings. So going into this game tonight, you know, you can't help but look at last season. It's very tough not to, even though this is another year matured Blues team. But you know, this is the series last year where the Kings, things that the Blues did not do last year, they did not win at home. They did not score a power play goal. They did not score a shorthanded goal. And they actually didn't win at all.
No.
So they have changed all those tonight in game one.
Yeah, you know, somebody had pointed out that the St. Louis Blues have gone 11-2 since the trade deadline. So they're a very, significant team to play against. And, you know, we had mentioned Jay Bouwmeester in the last show. I had forgotten that Jordan Leopold was also traded to the St. Louis Blues. So definitely an upgrade there on defense. Still wasn't worried. You know, I predicted Kings in 5. Chris said Kings in 6. And the first period starts an utter domination by the St. Louis Blues, Chris. They were doing, I texted Chris in the first period. I said, this Blues team looks like the Kings team from last year, just forechecking, getting good goaltending, great shots on goal. Alex Steen, sort of a leftover from the Toronto Maple Leafs, has emerged as Conn Smythe consideration at this point. What a first period by the St. Louis Blues. And it's not that I thought that the Kings were necessarily playing bad, but the St. Louis Blues were just playing good. It was a fun hockey game to watch if I wasn't such a Kings fan.
Yeah, you know, the first period was tough on the Kings. They were still kind of getting their bearings there. Blues are all physical, just really controlling the puck. I felt like the Kings were in their defensive zone the entire time, and thank God for Jonathan Quick. We'll get to him later, obviously. But he definitely held it together because it could have been a lot worse. And the Kings, again, just couldn't get in the offensive zone, just couldn't get any good scoring chances. Jeff Carter came with about an inch, with about 5 seconds left in the first one, would have changed everything. Didn't get it. Moving on to the second.
Yeah, in the second period, it was still more of the same. Domination by the St. Louis Blues and a stellar performance by Jonathan Quick. I mean, Jonathan Quick tonight has finally back to that Jonathan Quick that we knew last year, that was able to carry the team on the shoulders. You know, the only difference is you have to put the biscuit in the basket. Didn't happen either in the second period for the Los Angeles Kings, but just can't stress how impressed I was by the forwards, by the speed of the St. Louis Blues, by the defense. Jabo and Pietrangelo look like veterans that have been playing together for, 5 seasons. And, hats off to Elliott, who came up with some nice stops in the few times the Kings actually shot. But I think the second period or beginning of the third ended up being like 35 shots to 15 in favor of St. Louis. Yeah,
absolutely. They just completely controlled it. And, this is the Kings team that needs to step up. This is last year where the Kings, all the role players stepped up.
Yeah.
And you look at Kopitar this year, and we never really talked about this too much, but he had 10 goals this year. 10 goals. If you would have said this last year, through 48 games, Kopitar has 10 goals, you would have looked at that as an utter disaster. So looking for Kopitar, a guy like him, to step up this game. But going into the third, Kings kind of got it together a little bit, made some nice adjustments, and you kind of felt like the momentum of the Blues was getting sucked out a little bit because the Kings were playing well. And hats off to Dustin Penner, who was actually hustling tonight.
He was definitely hustling and putting some shots on goal. I still kind of thought the third period advantage went to the St. Louis Blues again. I turned to my wife and I said, this could easily be 4-0, for the St. Louis Blues. And, 30 seconds left. Jonathan Quick gets pulled, but my hand is on my head, you know what I mean? I'm ready to just go to bed after that. And Justin Williams, who's been clutch for the last few games, comes up with a huge goal, sending it into overtime. And wow, I mean, now that's playoff hockey right there.
Yeah, what a great game. I mean, that crowd was going absolutely insane that last minute. They knew they had it.
People
we thought
were
they had
up and
it.
Leaving.
People were, exactly. Williams just squeezed that puck in there. Elliott wasn't even expecting that. And I was going crazy. I think there was a small earthquake because Kings fans throughout the Los Angeles area were just going nuts. And you kind of felt it shifting right there. You kind of felt like, okay, the Kings, this is their kind of brand of hockey. This is the playoff-built Kings that we all know and love. and I think they're going to pull this one off.
Yeah, a couple interesting things going into overtime. Daryl Sutter looks like he took out Terry Murray's, a blender, the line blender, finally out of the closet. He had Dwight King skating with Anze Kopitar and Jeff Carter. People were, all around. He's doing everything to get Anze Kopitar going again. But you're right, not seeing that contribution from the Jordan Nolans, the Dwight Kings, the Colin Fraser, who was scratched, this season. But the third period was all Los Angeles Kings. A couple minutes into it, I said, Kings have finally smelled blood in the water. St. Louis Blues let up. This is the Kings' game to lose, and lose it they did.
Not after Penner, draws an awesome double minor. Kings have the puck. 6 minutes left. 4 minutes at advantage. You felt like it was going to happen. I really did feel like it was going to happen. Kings drove a couple times, tried to get the goal, cleared out to the back. And then what does Jonathan Quick do? He plays the puck in an interesting situation where he didn't necessarily have to do that. And Steen was all over it, who just had a friggin' monster of a game. Turned it over. There was no question about it. Done.
Yeah, done.
Game over.
Game over. Jonathan Quick, look, he mishandled the puck, and Jonathan Quick is known for mishandling the puck. He is not the best puck-handling goaltender out there. I mean, he's gotten a little bit better, but still, after tonight, gives up the game winner. And, scanning my Twitter feed, I was on Twitter all night watching the games. One of the beauties of being able to watch a game from home is, you have fast Wi-Fi, unlike Staples Center, and you can do that. People are calling for Jonathan Quick's head. Bernier should start. Look, I love Bernier this season. I had my doubts about Jonathan Quick for a few games, but Jonathan Bernier would not have turned in the kind of performance that Jonathan Quick did. No. Bottom line is the Los Angeles Kings need to be stronger on the forecheck. They needed to be, shooting more intensity like they had going in overtime, and it just didn't happen. Also, too, I think there was some miscommunication with the defenseman. Where was Drew Doughty on that last play where Jonathan Quick mishandled the puck? I could have very easily just turned into a play that, a little kill for them, the Blues on the penalty, and it ended up meaning the game winner. So going into Game 2, Kings are down, which they were not at all ever in last playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can't help but look at last season as a yardstick, but yeah, they didn't lose any of the first 3 games in any of the series. We were very spoiled. Yep. But this is going to be a series. This isn't, this could be a 6 or 7 game series. I mean, I do expect the Kings to bounce back. I felt like they were kind of figuring it out and kind of, and it takes a while sometimes, in playoff games to sort of feel teams out, and it's like that in every sport. But, I like their momentum going into 2. Obviously, Quick is going to be a lot more conservative when it comes to playing the puck outside of the net like that, but bottom line is that the Kings need to score some friggin' goals, and obviously the Blues were played very disciplined tonight, and I think the Kings had 2 power plays, and one of them was the ill-fated one at the end there where Steen got the shorty.
Yeah, you could fault Jonathan Quick and the Los Angeles Kings all you want, but if the Kings had the chances, if they're the ones that had dominated the entire game, and then Quick did something like that, I mean, that'd be freaking terrible. But the bottom line is he bailed them out all game. There were plenty of times for the Los Angeles Kings to, step it up and put it away, and they just couldn't do it. But yeah, you're right. The St. Louis Blues, looking like the Los Angeles Kings of last season. Sure, they don't have that Anze Kopitar, but Anze Kopitar has been kind of invisible. But they're a big team. They're a tough team. They've got good goaltending, so far. They almost look like a carbon copy, also very, very well coached. And I think perhaps it came to the Los Angeles Kings saying, hey, look, we dominated them this season. We swept them in the playoffs last year. Maybe they came in, with a little too much swagger, Chris, and, thought that they could play them a little easy. And the St. Louis Blues, these guys are not going down without a fight. Going into Game 2, this is a must-win for the Los Angeles Kings. You can't go down 0-2 in a series. Can you come back? Sure. It's going to be very, very difficult. And everyone says if you can get one road win, in the first 2 games, you're golden. So let's hope the Kings can do that. Yeah,
you just got to steal one to get that home advantage again, take that away from the Blues, and hopefully come back here where the Kings have been fantastic right there at that Staples Center. So.
Yeah, for me, I want to see the original lines reunited. I want to see Brown with Kopitar and Williams. I want to see... I know it's crazy, Kings fans. I'm giving him a lot of trouble. I'd like to see Dustin Penner again with Mike Richards and Jeff Carter. I think that's the best top 6. Yeah. Although all respect to Colin Fraser, I like what I'm seeing from Brad Richardson. I like that additional speed.
Yeah, me too. All right, Kings fans, so the playoffs have begun, full force, and now a KingsCast beard update.
All right, Kings fans, we're going into Game 2. We like to think of ourselves as coaches as well, so here are our top 5 adjustments that Daryl Sutter should make for Game 2 against the St. Louis Blues. Kalzewski.
Number 5, tie Jonathan Quick to the friggin' net.
Number 4, remind the Kings it's the playoffs.
Number 3, cross-check Steen in the throat.
Number 2, check Willie Mitchell's status one more time.
And the number 1 adjustment that Daryl Sutter should make for Game 2 is give Dustin Penner sausages and angel dust and unleash the sleeping giant.
All right, Kings fans, we're going to be right back at you on Thursday after Game 2. It was a game that hopefully we could have taken off. You know what I mean? Catch a little R&R, not have to be in front of the camera. But the Kings lost this one. Screwed it up for KingsCast. What are you going to do? Don't forget, you got to like and subscribe to the show up top, up bottom on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Also follow our good friend, the editor, the man, Nathan Popejoy. He's going to link it up right there. That's his Twitter handle. If you don't follow him, you're an asshole. I'm Keith Kordelik.
And I'm Chris Kalzewski.
Thanks for watching Overtime by KingsCast.